Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue en Pendu dans un Cercle de Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know from my attempt at a French introduction that this is my series in which I use Terre de Marseille adjacent, or antique Italian decks to help me unpack a more, precise, a more condensed, a more distilled message, if you will, from a larger spread that I record during the week. And I just recorded earlier my final Lenormand series spread. I've been doing a 1 year long deep dive into the Lenormand system. And I just did my one and only 9-card spread with houses for the larger video of the week. And I'm not really sure how clear my approach to presenting that spread was. I highly recommend going to see it just so you can see how well or how poorly I read that spread for all of us. So, for 2 reasons. One, this spread that I'm going to read is a reaction spread to that one. So it's always good to watch the first video, which might be this direction for you, the first video before watching this one, so you know why I'm reading these cards in the way I'm reading it. Also, as a curiosity, how did I present a 9-card Lenormand spread with houses? Yeah? I wish I would have had more time to do that kind of spread more often and refined my process of reading Lenormand 9-card spreads with houses, but life happens as life happens, and it's time for me to put away the Lenormand, at least temporarily, and move on to something else. So, want to check that out? I will put a card up here for you to click on and hop on over, take a look at that, and then come back here and watch this. Remember, you don't have to watch any of these videos in one sitting. You can watch them in bits and pieces. It's copacetic. It's all kosher. Now, just in case you did watch that spread, just in case you did watch that video, and you want a quick refresher, I don't remember the title of that video. Probably it was I'm not going to attempt it. It slipped my mind. But the central card of that spread was the tree card, and it was in the house of the writer. And it was about our growth. And the past seems to have been one of obstacles, and the future seems to be one of finding our path, finding our way forward, finding our guidance, and happy guidance, and good luck, and, well, not good luck necessarily, could include good luck, but good fortune, and synchronicities, and happiness, and all the wonderful things of life, growing steadily. Recognizing that the cycles of life are good. The times of obstacles and challenge are good. They're what allow us to grow and to mature so that we can expand and flourish for another season. And then we can contract a little bit, and then we can grow like a tree in the house of the writer. Yeah? So, that's what that spread all seemed to be about. And that the obstacles seem to be ending, and we seem to be moving into a period of finding our guidance and finding our path and making good choices. Let's see if that was accurate. Let's see if we get another layer of information to that spread. So, friends, what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing all those things that you do. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting in the comment section. Those of you who do all of those things, you help our community expand. You help us grow, and we do grow. We do expand. And because of your blessing, thank you. Also, In just a moment, I am going to show you this week's reaction spread. And we will talk about the decks, we'll talk about the way that the spread is laid, and then we will break the spread into its two major component parts and read those parts together. Are you all ready? Friends, here we go. Here is this week's spread. Friends, what do you think of these decks? Now, you probably recognize them. If you are a consistent watcher of this channel, you will have seen both of these decks before. Yeah, the three cards on the top are from a tarot deck. It is a Tarot de Marseille adjacent deck called the Metanoia Tarot. It's a lovely deck. I love it. Cardstock is fabulous. It shuffles beautifully. The images are clear. It's a little bit modernized, but not completely modernized. It's lovely. It's a little pink, but that's not a problem for me. I love it. And so those three cards are read directionally, and I'll tell you what that means when we get to that part of the spread. The three cards below are from an oracle card, an oracle called the Oracle Beline. That oracle deck is available. The easiest way to get the oracle deck is to order it from France, from Amazon France. And there'll be a link in the description box to both of these decks. And the link will be to Amazon France. And really, it doesn't... I think that is the easiest way to get this deck. Now, the guidebook, and I highly recommend getting the guidebook. The guidebook is available in Amazon all over the world. So your local Amazon will have the guidebook in English and in French. And if you're listening to me, probably your accessibility to English is pretty high. Yeah? I assume that your English ability probably is high enough to be able to read that book. Or your French ability hopefully is good enough to read the French version of the book. But you know what? Even if your English ability is not excellent or is not, I don't want to, I'm sorry, that was a very poorly chosen word. Even if your English ability is not very fluent, you can also use your phone to translate the book. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you open up Google and there's a little camera in the search bar and you click on that and you have the option to translate. And so you point your phone toward the book with translate on and it will translate into your language. So there are many options, yeah? But the Oracle Beline is lovely. It allows us to add a little bit more astrology into our readings with other decks, yeah? So it's a fabulous deck, beautiful. And it works wonderfully, especially with wood-cut print style decks. For example, Tarot de Marseille. And for this one too, I think. Because that's how it was printed. The original Oracle Beline is printed as a wood block print deck. Now I've heard there's a more modernized version of this deck, which I have seen briefly, but I don't really remember clearly, and I'm not really sure whether I liked it or not. I like the original. Or at least this reprint of the original. Yeah? Okay, so those are the decks. What are we going to do? I will show you the three cards from the Tarot deck once more, and we'll read those. And then I'll show you the three cards from the Oracle deck, and we'll read those. And then we'll say, see you later. Okay? So friends, here are the three cards from the Tarot deck right now. Friends, you saw from left to right, we had the Ace of Coins, the Sun, and the Lover card, Le Amoureux. If you know me, you know that I read Tarot de Marseille directionally, which means I look at the line of sight for the humans in the cards, and That will tell me whether I want to read left to right or right to left, or I want to read towards the center. But you know what? The people with faces in these cards, half of them are looking to the left and half of them are looking to the right. So I don't really get a strong indication. I mean, we could read towards the center, but I think a left to right approach is correct for this spread. Also, I don't know if you see this the way I see it, but I see a development here. I see an image development here from the coin in the center of the Ace of Coins. It grows into a circle with a face in the sun, yeah? And then that face in the sun, I want to say explodes, but that's not exactly the correct image. Metamorphoses into a full angel with a radiant sun around the angel. Do you see that? There's or you could think of it as an ovum that develops a face and then develops into a full-formed being, right? So it seems like there's that kind of progression there too, which I think is phenomenal. And you also notice that the Ace of Coins has no people, the Sun card has 2 people, and then the Amoureux card has 3 people. There's also a growth in that direction as well. Of course, you could say 4 because of the angel above, so that would be 0, 2, 4. That's another way to look at it. But still, you see that progression and growth, right? So what do? We start off with the Ace of Coins. And what is the Ace of Coins? The Ace of Coins is opportunity. But it's an opportunity that must be cultivated. That's like the seed for a plant. If you don't put it in, you get this seed. Now you get this seed. You just set it on a table, it's not going to do anything, right? You've got to put it in the ground, you've got to water it, you've got to take care of it. The opportunity must be cultivated, just like the seed must be cultivated. So there's potential prosperity with the Ace of Coins, a new venture, a new potential path, a new potential career, a new potential adventure of some sort, potential rewards. You could have a practical perspective on things that is new, maybe a utilitarian approach, but I don't think that's where we're going with this. But this card does direct any questions towards the concrete aspects of life. So this is about our day-to-day experience of the world. It could be our health, but it's more likely to be about our work in the world. And with that work in the world, we see a new opportunity, which did seem to be indicated in the Lenormand Spread this week, if you recall. And that seed in the tree card grows slowly, but steadily, right? And that leads us to the sun. What is the sun? The sun is the card of, look at these. Did you see those 2 people there? Yeah? You see the radiant sun above them, the verdant green life behind them. Yeah? It's a much more, I want to say tropical version of the sun. But it's a very vibrant, verdant image for the sun card. So what is that? It's joy. It could be power. It could be success. It could also be motivation and determination that the fire the Leonine. Think of the sun and Leo, although I do not associate the sun with Leo, but still, that Leonine aspect of the sun, of motivation and determination and all of that. But also the playful aspect of the Leo with the joy and showing off, right? Two people on this card. Reciprocal love is possible here. Mutual aid, partnership is indicated. New life, success, abundance, happiness are all indicated with the sun. Also summer. Here we are in summer, just saying. Excessive heat is possible. Now I was going to say the shadow side, but it's not shadowy, it's very bright, right? Excessive heat is the less positive aspect of the sun. Also human touch is indicated, but I think here what we're seeing is this opportunity grows into joy, grows into a success, into abundance, into new life and happiness with other people, not by ourselves, right? With other people. That was indicated in the Lenormand Spread, just as we see the two people here in this card. Different from the sun card in the Smith-Waite deck, right? Where it's the one baby on a horse. Yeah, there's two people here. More interaction, more co-creation in the sun card in Tarot de Marseille. Which leads us to what? It leads us to the lover card, where we've got what? We've got an emotional life, right? So our sun of joy, of power, of success, of abundance even, and happiness is one of emotional interaction, pleasure, new unions even, lovers and the love, learning the joy of living is also possible with the lover card. In addition to choices, there's a choice to be made. So we started off with this opportunity that needs to be tended, to be cultivated, right? New ventures, potentials that grows in the sun with joy and success, but also motivation and determination, right? New life, abundance, happiness. And then it's still asking for us to choose it, to choose the path forward. And do that in a community of love and of friendship and of pleasure and of union and joy. And there's also something that I don't usually call into a reading with this card, but was indicated in the Lenormand Spread, which is a need to disengage from past influences, which is interesting. So, if you recall from the Lenormand Spread, the past was challenging, possibly in the realm of our social interactions. So there's a call here to disengage from that to move forward, right? We want to choose the best, the most healthful, the most supportive, nurturing, loving relationships, and let some of the relationships that were challenging and obstacles go. Let the challenging go might be the title of this video. As we grow and our expansion happens and the success and happiness expands, we're asked to make the choice to let some of the past go so that we can choose the path forward. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So we're going to look at these oracle cards below. And at first I was thinking that these oracle cards would modify, like an adjective modifies a noun, would modify the message or the meaning of the tarot card above each of them. And I might still go with that, but I think these cards are giving us a different progression of information. Rather than actually directly speaking to the cards above individually, I think they're giving us another line of information. Does that make sense? So let me show you the oracle cards once more and let's read them together. Here they are. Friends, you saw from left to right, we had the birds, the black cat, and the chained one. Not the happiest line of cards in the deck, if you get my drift, yeah? You saw very clearly that the first two cards are associated with the moon, and the last card is associated with Mars. And those two planets in this deck are challenging, yeah? And we start off with the birds card, yeah? Depart, departure, which means departure. The side title is Depart, Depart. I'm not sure how to say that in French, but what you see here is the birds linking heaven and earth. So the birds joined material and spirit, heaven and earth, right? And there are 10 birds here, which gives us the idea of a new cycle, of rebirth, of a new direction. Like you see the birds flying off in a new direction, yeah? This card indicates a departure, and it could be a departure of us, our departure, or the departure of another person. Each one of these cards has a secondary astrology, though. The secondary astrology for this card is Mercury. Now, Mercury is the fast planet, right? The planet of messages, of communication, also the trickster planet. So Mercury associated with the moon in this card gives us the movement to the moon's emotions. And it could be the desire to travel or express our feelings. But here movement is both explorative and beneficial. It helps us to find stuff, and it helps us. So staying still, staying in one place is not going to be beneficial for us. Which is interesting because we're moving in the direction of the chained one, right? But in the middle, we've got this black cat card right here. Yeah, the black cat card. The side title for this card is Trahison, which means treason. You know, like if you're an American, you might know the name Benedict Arnold, a traitor, treason. Yeah. On the card, you see a black cat with kind of nasty looking claws, right? A black cat. This cat can be friendly or aggressive. This cat is changeable, yeah? It has 5 whiskers on each side. I'm sorry, not 5. It has, how many? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it has 5 whiskers on each side. And the front claws have 5 claws on them, which is odd for a cat, right? So there's this idea of human mutability, right? The 5-ness of the image here, the whiskers, the claws. There's a human mutable, changeable quality to this cat, which points to its being both friendly or aggressive. Just like if you've ever lived with a cat, sometimes it happens that way, right? The card means bad luck, according to Belin. Yeah, negative effect on positive cards around it is indicated as well. We don't have a particularly positive card out on the table today, but there is a negative aspect to this card affecting the cards around it. So the departure, while it could be explorative and beneficial, has a potential bad luck here as well with this black cat. There are hidden issues, according to Belin, with the black cat, with self or others. It could be repressed feelings. Remember the planet Mercury associated with the moon in the birds card was the movement of our emotions. So the black cat is pointing to repressed feelings, right? Maybe even a hidden betrayal, which might be indicated by somebody else taking off from our lives. Who knows? The sub-astrology of this card is the moon. So we've got the primary moon and then the secondary moon here as well. So there's a mirror of shadows and illusion here with the black cat. There's confusing reality. And any blessings that might be in the cards around us makes those blessings hypothetical rather than real. Potential rather than practical. And then we move into this card here, which is the chained one. Yeah? The side title for this card is Despotisme, which means despotism. On the card we see a figure of an Egyptian style figure in chains, right? The chains are the tie between two extremes or two beings. The keyhole, do you see the keyhole here? Let me see if I can see the keyhole. There's a keyhole here on the card right below where the wrist is bound. There's a little dot, I guess, indicating a keyhole. So there's a potential to be freed from this bondage here, whether that bondage is voluntary or not. And that's something to keep in mind. Not all bondage is involuntary. Sometimes we choose. Think of the devil card in Tarot, yeah? Oftentimes we see the collar on the two imps or the two beings beneath the larger devil figure, and we see that the collars around them could probably be taken off. And so we ask ourselves, whatever the negative aspect of the devil card might be, whether those chains were put on those figures by the devil, or whether those figures put their chains on themselves, whether they bound themselves to the devil or not. So that's something to think about with this figure here. Is this voluntary bondage or not? Did this figure put the chains on themselves or not? Yeah? We might be trapped by circumstances or external influences. There's an intensity here, and it requires resilience. It requires being hardworking and trustworthy to be able to navigate this situation. Secondary planet for this card is Saturn, which gives us restrictions through obstacles around Mars's desire to move forward and get things done and do the things and fight for what it wants, yeah? So Saturn puts restrictions on Mars and delays and heavy responsibilities, which could be a bit auto-destructive for Mars. It could frustrate Mars so much that Mars implodes, yeah? So what are we talking about with these three cards? There's a potential departure, things moving forward with the birds, right? But that movement is not necessarily beneficial, might be bad luck. It might cause our inner emotional instability to be revealed to us, and we might notice that we have been bound and chained, and that bondage and the chains that we are experiencing may have been self-imposed. And we may have been self-destructive in the past. And so while the three cards above, the Ace of Coins developing to the Sun, developing to the Lovers, are all true and valid, we have to recognize that below the surface, and seeing these two sets of cards together really does emphasize that the past has been challenging and unsettling and unhappy, indicated by these three cards from the Oracle de Lune below. But the path forward is a happy one, indicated by the three tarot cards above. But we've got to make the choice. And we have to be aware of the bondage and the limitations that we have placed upon ourselves with this chained one here. And it could also have been a bondage or a restrictions placed by circumstances and other people as well. But to one extent or another, we have bought into those restrictions. And so we're asked to be aware, I think. We might be called to let somebody go, right? Or let something go as well. That which has brought us perhaps illusions or confusing realities or confusing emotional. There was emotional confusion in the Lenormand Spread as well. Confused emotions, right? Which have caused us to be bound, restricted. Lack of liberty. And sometimes that's good, but right now, that has not in present circumstances, that restriction, the limitations have not been beneficial for us. They've been burdensome, they've been challenging. Recognizing them will be beneficial for us, and we will be able to liberate ourselves and find emotional clarity. And remember, the moon in the Lenormand Spread this week, while it was covered with clouds, will reveal itself and we will find the sun. Yeah? So, we have a path forward, and it's good. This might be a time for what some people call shadow work as well. I do not particularly buy into the idea of doing shadow work as a specific thing, but if you do, then this might be a good time for it. I think all work includes both light and shadow. Yeah, but this might be a time to do some delving and exploration into what we have allowed ourselves to buy into that has restricted, limited, confused us. So that we can have more of the experience of the Ace of Coins growing through the Sun into the Lover card. Yeah? Okay, friends, thank you. Thank you for being with me on this journey, and thank you for reading this spread with me. And friends, in just a moment, the QR code and the web address for my online tarot shop will appear before your very eyes if you want to order a reading from me. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.